Good evening, my fellow travelers on Spaceship Earth. It is I am coming to you live from Applewood Station, where it is 20 degrees Celsius outside, and we already have, it looks like, a bot named BCK. No, I'm just kidding. That'd be funny. Brent is clearly a bot. Just saying. I have a sense of these things, you see. I am very, very knowledgeable about this stuff. Whatever. You're about to get zorched. You are totally a bot. Don't lie. That's exactly what a bot would say, that they're not a bot. Alright. So we will now add to the block list for Kylie and Poofcon. Although, doesn't Poofcon anymore on the screen? Kind of aggravating. That's right. How you doing, Brent? It's been a while since I've seen you around these parts. Didn't see you around these parts. Yeah, I feel like I could probably do the thing where I move me over just a little bit so that I'm not white. Center. That's not bad. See, that's much better. That's much better. Just saying. Much better. As you're wondering, there we go. I don't need to be centered. Manor lords, huh? Is it good? I was playing Baldur's Gate 3, which actually wasn't bad. It wasn't horrible. I am right now also going through and just cleaning stuff up. Like, nothing has been cleaned up in so long. And it's all just this ongoing, like, complicated, I don't know. Like, there are things in here where looking through folders, I see spring strips that are in my individual pieces folders, and I'm seeing individual pieces in my comic book folders, and things have just gotten really messy. And, you know, what's the plot of Manor Lords? Asks I. Just saying. I actually kind of like this piece. Get the realm. Cool. It was one of my more favorite pieces from a long time ago. I am, like I said, in the middle of trying to clean stuff up. You're a medieval lord, huh? Do we have to call you Lord Brent now? It's always that. It's always calling you Lord Brent, man. Brent this, Brent that. Lord Brent this, Lord Brent that. You know, it's interesting. I'm just looking at my face up here. And first of all, it's great that my camera has decided to not make me super dark, which it's done for the last however long. I've done nothing to the settings of my camera, by the way. I'm just like, but man, I slept like 14 hours today. So like I've gotten no, I don't have any more of the little dark circles under my eye. I'm like, I actually look like I slept 14 hours. Like I'm actually pretty Yankee looking. You think so? Let's check. Might be. Hang on, hang on. Yep. Switch to the line in. I don't know why. You're right. Down there on the mic. Sexier now. Just saying. For the record. Yeah. Anyway. That's worse? Shouldn't be worse. Oh, okay. You're just saying it's worse because I said the word sexier. Anyway, how do I sound now? How do I read? I am moving weird stuff. Around. Good. I'm just moving things. I'm not doing anything exciting tonight. Ron wants me to finish Silver Pentacle relatively soon. It's not urgent. I think that I'm more into the idea of setting up my comic so that it's a good thing to do every night during school, so that it gives me something to do at night. So that's what we're going to do. But also, I'm going to try to set up Silver Pentacle so that it's ready to go too. And we're going to fix all of that up and get that going as well. So that's a good thing. But I'm going through now and just realizing that everything here is like so confused and like messed up and stuff like that. So I'm just kind of going through and like I have the 2009 prompt list for Inktober. I don't even think I need to keep that anymore. Yeah, so I'm working on Silver Pentacle 3. And then this morning he sent me an email wondering if I would do another cover. And I feel like that's not a bad thing to do. I think I'll do another cover as well. I'm into that plan. Got a couple of things I want to do. Yeah, today's been such a weird day. I just feel funky and I don't feel quite myself all day. And I'm just now starting to feel pretty normal again. And I think it was because last week was 47 hours, which I think for the average person, 47 hours is only a mild irritation, but I don't sit at my job. I stand the whole day. And I have to be on. Like I have to perform like a actor on stage, because that's how I keep my kids' attention, because the stuff that I'm teaching them is boring. And so the only way to get them to stay alert and stay with me and get the data to them is to be funny and tell jokes and tell stories and the whole 9 yards, which is a lot of energy expended. So 47 hours of it is a little rough. So I'm just a little over my threshold, I think. And I think that's what happened. I think last night, because I worked yesterday too, and I think last night I finally just hit the pillow and woke up like 11 hours later with my body going, look, dude, stop doing that.
You need to stop doing that. I'm just saying. I think that's where we were, and I feel like that's what was going on, and now we're here, and I'm sitting there going, okay. Kind of feel like I want to get everything together and with it, and kind of figure this stuff out. Just kind of squirreling stuff away. So, and other things like I don't have anything from the Silver Pentacle in these single illustration pages in here. Like I've got all of my work, some of the stuff that I'm very proud of over the years that I have worked on. And I'm noticing that like some of the work that I've done from other stories and stuff like that just isn't ending up in here. And I'm like, well, you know. And so I've been kind of looking around and poking around and trying to think of things that I want to do and how do I want to mess with all of this and stuff like that. So, yep, that's where we are. Just poking around, trying to figure out what's going on. I've got a whole bunch of Bellatrix Rising stuff in here. They really should be in the individual artwork for Bellatrix Rising and not in here. And that's another thing. It's like, why is it in here? Why? I renamed the folder that I did to Guy's Works because I used to have Guy the Artist as there. But I'm going to start writing books and stuff like that too, as far as what I'm doing for my anthropologist side. So I really should start making this also include prose, which never has really been a thing for me. And so kind of looking at that going, well, that's kind of cool in its own way, but need to figure this stuff up. So I'm just kind of doing the, like try to get some of this stuff figured out and squared away. Yeah, and the feeling that everything is out of control and chaotic. Like I have a lot of feeling that things aren't going where they're supposed to go at this point. And it's not, there's nothing really saying that, but except my feeling. And yeah, you're right. It's just a certain ADD chaos going on here. I'm like, no, but it's so chaotic. We can't do that. Why would we do that? So much chaos. Yeah, you're right. I don't like the chaos. I'm feeling a little overly chaotic at this moment. I'm just going through here and straightening stuff up. So anyway, that's all I'm doing is just straightening things up. It makes me feel better, worse, I don't know, something. So anyway, that's the way of the world for the moment. A lot of things that I scanned in from previous things, and I'm like, well, okay, but like I don't mind that the Door Girl cards end up in here. That makes sense. I'm not gonna separate those guys out, but there's like Tamerlane pictures in here, and they really shouldn't be in here. So it's like they should be in their Tamerlane folder. Early versions of Chang. I'm looking at things like that and going, well, Very strange. So, I don't know. That's all right. And like, my photography really should be in my photography folders. There's photography in here, and I'm like, but really needs to be in my photography folders. So, yeah, I mean, this is probably not something I want to spend too much time on tonight. Wow. I don't even remember what year this is from. Kind of getting to the point where I don't really remember where some of this artwork is from. I love this piece, but I don't remember where it's from. It's definitely from my pre-maquette era of drawing. That's kind of cool. I always think that I still want to someday just write stories. You know, take some of these pictures and see what they meant in my head and pull them out. Like, I'm looking at the Bellatrix Rising thing is just so messed up too. Like, everything in here is so screwed up. It's like, really? What's going on, guys? Like, no wonder I'm not finding anything. There's like nothing I can't get any organization out of any of this. It all made sense at one point in time, and I know that. And I get that all made sense, but now I'm like looking at it going, none of this makes sense. You know? Had an interesting idea. And that is, you know how people make proxies of magic cards? Since everybody pretty much always uses sleeves nowadays, you could almost make a proxy of cards that are actual cards, you know, like, you know, I don't know, let's say Lord of the Pit. And instead of Lord of the Pit, it's, you know, your own artwork, which is, you know, Bob, Lord of the Pit. And it's got all the right numbers so that you can use the numbers when you play the card. But since you can't use the magic background, the magic card background on the back of the card, you'd use, you know, Guy's Proxies or something, some logo on the back that indicates that it's your own proxies. And then it doesn't matter, because as long as they're the same size and weight as a magic card, then you could just re-sleeve it. And they didn't copyright the numbers. That's not something you can copyright, but you could say, you know, instead of making it a 1-1, you could make it attack 1, defense 1, you know, and that way you're not even mimicking that. So you just make it the same numbers as one of those magic cards, and then somebody could use that as a proxy for the card, thus giving you an entirely different feel of a deck. So if you have a deck of cards that, you know, like some common decks where you don't really, you want them all to look uniform or look like they're all from the same army or from the same artist or something like that, have somebody make a deck of cards that's all proxies, and you can replace certain cards with it, thus making your deck viable. So I was thinking about that one too, or at least make your deck look the same. You know? Yeah, exactly. Right. I mean, but more along the lines of making, let's say, a guy card for, and all. It's still Troy's card. It's just that instead of Troy, you've had a card with me in it, and it still has the same attributes and everything like that. But you wouldn't make the back of that card be a Venom Assault card. You'd make that the back of your card say, Guy's Proxies or something, and then you could just slip it into the sleeve where you've already sleeved that. Especially if you mess it up. I'm just saying. I'm making snark. I'm sorry, Kets. I wasn't trying. No, that's not true. I'm not necessarily trying to be that snarky. I was just thinking that'd be funny. Oh, good. Well, that's cool. But I was just thinking about that. Like, you could make your own kinds of cards that do something completely different, but they still have all of the same magic abilities. Like, they're still the same magic card. It's just different. So, welcome to the show, Cats. I appreciate that. Do you do backflips though? These are all the things I think of from time to time. Anyway, I'm just kind of poking around looking at stuff. I like this picture. This is one of my favorites. I did this picture many, many moons ago, shortly after this came out, actually. That's Ashla, is that character right there, one of the younglings in the movie that the kiddo is watching right now downstairs. Because for the majority of my kiddo's life, I have banned episode 3. Only because it's just so crushing as far as like liking the characters and stuff like that. So I was like, oh man, you don't need to know that right now. It's all good. I'm going to put this in the Springs folders. I don't know where they go in the Springs folder, but I'll put them down here just so I know that they're there. This is just weird. Weird. Got this Batgirl too. 2005. So someday I want to do something with this Batgirl picture. She's got a couple of anatomy problems that are going to require some fixing. But for the most part, I really like the setup about it. Of course they did. They knew about all kinds of stuff. And they were playing Lego Star Wars, which means they knew the plot pretty well. And it just became one of those things where, episode 3 was sort of banned. And then they grew up and it never really was a thing that we ever came back to. And then tonight they were like, hey, can I watch episode 3? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with it now. You're 14. You're way past, when you were 8, I didn't want you watching episode 3. You're 14 now. The only thing I don't want you watching episode 3 of is because George Lucas can't write a love scene to save his life. And I don't want you to lose your faith in George Lucas. I'm just saying. I'm always entertained by it. It's like, oh yeah, there's this picture. This was done way back in 2012. And I don't remember what the joke was. Like, I'm not sure I remember at all what was going on here. Although it's not a bad picture. Still have no idea what I was doing here. No idea. I'm sure it was critical. Weird. I do like my Daughters of the Dragon picture, though. Even though it's a black and white picture, it's still one of my favorites. Oh, it's interesting. It looks like I've got, yeah. It's interesting that I've got zipatone chatter. I don't know why I have zipatone chatter there. It runs all the way up the drawing, though. It's kind of sad. Oh, well. This one was one of my better pieces. Also done without maquettes. I didn't use maquettes for this at all. It took me forever to get her pose in front. Because her feet are splayed in different directions. And this foot's going this way and this foot's going that way. So, yeah, I always like this piece. It's a good piece. Mm. It's one of my more beloved pieces as well. Especially once I went in and kind of cleaned it up a little, fixed it. I always liked the idea of refitting the NX-01. I thought that'd be cool. I had somebody buy this piece at a convention. I think I got paid $50 for it. Which, you know, I didn't think necessarily was bad, but, you know, considering how little you get paid for things, $50 got me lunch for that day. So I paid for lunch. We're getting to the point in life now where $50 doesn't pay for a whole lot. 1, 2, 3, 4. Only 4 real decks on the secondary hull. Think about that. That's not that much. Something to certainly think about. Oh, man. All right. In moving everything around, I also ended up kind of shifting things. which I think has made everything really unhappy because I think things are looking for stuff and it can't find it. There's a whole bunch of stuff that it can't find. And a whole bunch of things that are drawn by marker. Alrighty. I'm just poking around looking for stuff. This is still one of those wildly weird pictures that turned out so well. You know? We ended up with somebody, I was showing somebody how to draw, and they asked me to draw a velociraptor. And I was explaining that velociraptors had feathers. And so they wanted me to show them what that looked like. I was teaching a class. And so I was teaching the class on shading and everything like that. And so this is the picture that came out of that. And I love this picture. It's like kind of fun, you know, showing what a velociraptor would look like with feathers on it. I wonder what would happen if Jurassic Park was done today. First of all, the raptors that were in Jurassic Park were Utah raptors. Velociraptors were only about this tall, so they really weren't that big. But still, I always love this piece. This is a fun piece. I also am noticing that it's getting artifacty, but I think this is a small version, and that's why. So there's that. That's actually, it looks like it even says IMG. It's a download from somewhere, which means the original is somewhere else. Hence why I've got to organize all this stuff. Because the original, I don't even know if the original still exists anymore. Sure would be sucky if that was the case. Yeah, a whole bunch of these things that are all fascinating. There's original paintings and things like that. Oh, there's my driver's license. So looking at stuff and going, well, I don't know what to do about all this stuff, guys. Really don't know what to do about all this stuff. So many things going on. And I'm just like, well. feel like I should just do something. Like I'm not doing anything. Let's do something. Let's get ourselves spun up. We'll spin up some Clip Studio. We'll find something to do. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Start kind of setting up for Silver Pentacle. Something. We'll set up for something. Move this up here. Let's go into our work folder. There's clearly reference problems going on. The problem is I haven't read all of Silver Pentacle 3 yet. And the mistake I made in Silver Pentacle 1 was starting to draw the pictures before I had read the whole book. And so the last pictures didn't feel like they matched. And I felt like I did a whole lot better and a whole lot faster at Silver Pentacle 2 because I read the whole book first. So the first pictures made sense to the last pictures. And so that was a markedly better choice, I feel like. Also feel like I did better with Silver Pentacle 2 by giving them sort of a layout which showed the illustrations as I saw them. To get them kind of in that flow and stuff like that. And I'm stuck because for Bellatrix Rising 3 and 4, or 2 and 3, I want them all to be one unit, and I want it to flow from episode 1 or issue 1. So issue 1, 2, and 3 all make sense. And so, but we're kind of serving two masters here because in order to do that, it also has to stand alone. The episode has to stand alone. But once we're there, I think it's not going to be hard for us to just do the pages because it's just plugging from that point forward. I think our best bet right now is to think through plotting out Silver Pentacle and the pages for the comic so that once we get back into school, they're just relax time to do the drawing on them. Ron's not in any hurry for me to finish Silver Pentacle. He just wants me to be plugging on it. He wants me to be, moving forward, not just stalled out, I don't blame him. And I feel like the same thing goes for Bellatrix. We just need to be moving, plugging along, I've spent the last year, just see progress, exactly. I spent the last year or so just kind of smarting over the events of about this time last year where things kind of went sucky and went bad. And I've gotten everything back online again. We're back moving forward. And now I want to work on me. I'm over the hurt, the pain, all of that crap that you have to go through when a bad event occurs in your life. And though I'm obviously not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. I am doing much better. And so now I want to work on just where I am in the world. I want to lose weight, and I want to become more limber and straighten up my life. And it's not a matter of losing weight to look good. It's not a matter of losing weight for anything other than I'm getting up there in the years, and now it's going to become more of a problem as time goes on. My body doesn't like this and will not tolerate it, and at some point will decide to start to break. So it's time for me to. I've been practicing a little bit of Tai Chi to try to limber myself back up again, loosen up a little again. I don't sleep well because of pinched nerves in my back, so limbering up is certainly something to help me with it. And so one of the things I'm going to start doing soon. Oh yeah. And I'm starting to feel a little bit more like it's time to focus back in on stuff, bully tricks and things like that. Yep. As my personal manager, you've been just letting me kind of do that. And thank you. You've been giving me space to be chaotic and let my world fall apart and rebuild itself. But I think I'm at the end of that. I think I'm at the end of letting my world fall apart and the beginning of year 2, right? We had year 1, and year 1 ended on the 28th of June, so 2 days ago. And that's the end of year 1. And now we're on to year 2. And I think now is the time to start making some concerted, targeted changes in my life that make things work. Make this time as well sacred again. It's even at the end of this has become kind of a time where I've been loosening up on whether I should be here regularly at 9 o'clock at night and stuff like that. And I really think that the real reason that I have my 9 to 11 broadcast is to keep it so that my world comes to a close at 9 p.m., shut it down for the night. There you go. You and I are working together, bro. Time to work on us. Time to get forward moving. This is not to end Bellatrix Rising by any stretch. Bellatrix Rising is a core piece of me. And that's another thing I had to kind of do. I'm going back to college to be a cultural anthropologist. And for a while there, I was sitting there going, do I have to choose between the two? And the answer is no. No, I don't. I don't have to choose between these two. I can be a cultural anthropologist that draws comics and lives in the comic world, and maybe I can do some anthropological studies of the comic artists. I can be a cultural anthropologist that still sells comics and makes comics. I can still wear my Starfleet uniforms. This is another thing I was thinking about. I was like, what part of me do I want to eject if I need to, or what part of me should stick around? And I'm thinking there's nothing wrong with the pieces of me that I like. The things that I don't like about me is I'm less disciplined. I wish I was more disciplined. I want to be. I think that's a wiffle bat, but that's all right. Waffle ball bat sounds meaner, and I'm feeling like if you hit me with that, it would be a bad thing. It might pancake me. Right. Anyway. Yeah, I'm not quitting Bellatrix Rising. That's not happening. I've got a job here. But I also know that if I don't do something about taking care of me, I'm not going to finish this because I will die. And I don't want to die. I got work to do. So we're going to start regularly there are a couple of things. One, halfway through the show now, I'm gonna set a timer or something so that halfway through the show, I get up and move around for a minute, stretch or something, and you should too. We all should. Although for me, halfway through the show for you is bedtime. But either way, you should be stretching at the end anyway, because stretching is good for you. Good to get your muscles stretched out and things like that. But yeah, these are all things. So that's what I'm thinking. The beginning of a new era. We've started a new era. So, and you can join me if you wish there, my dear friend Brent. I would love for you to join me. I've already started trying to eat less. That's the big thing. My buddy Alex has a very important thing he often says, and the reality is you don't burn enough calories exercising to offset calories. You've got to figure out how to get your diet to 2,000 calories or less. And that's just the way it's got to be. There's nothing you can do. Exercising all day long might be able to burn you 1,000 calories, but you'd waste the whole day exercising. So that's not as good a plan as it seems. So I think also one of the things I will start doing is setting up days where like Monday and Tuesday are this job and Wednesday and Thursday are that job or something like that, or Sunday and Monday are this job, or Sunday, you know what I mean? Like, so that there's a constant flow of things. I also feel like, you know, to the statement you were saying earlier, Brent, that we were talking about, you know, you were letting me kind of be spacey and be weird. And looking at it now, I'm kind of like, well, the truth of the matter is that it's been, there's been so much just not wanting to settle in, not wanting to do my jobs, kind of getting confused, things like that. And now I'm kind of looking at it going, well, you know what? I mean, it's okay to be spacey here and there, but I think it's time to kind of try to settle in. So I'm kind of thinking, what should we do? So maybe I'll grab this and delete that, and grab this and delete that, and do this so that we can write some stuff down, right? Let's talk about this. We were to take right? These are the 5 days that we do night shows. I don't know if I'll restart the day shows. I'm actually kind of enjoying having late mornings and drinking coffee and stuff like that. So I don't know if I'll be doing day shows. And if I do, I might do them at noon or something like that, which would be 1 o'clock your time. And effectively for you, it would just be an afternoon show instead of a morning show. I do want to keep doing them sometimes because I like some user, and I would be bummed to lose some user. Ray's been showing up on the yeah, see, that works. So the Tuesdays and Thursdays we'll do. Oh, hey, yeah, I like that plan. But remember, this is a half of a show. But that's okay. Because it gets the other half has to be Geek Tank. I think that's this. I like this schedule probably the best, though. And I like the fact that you added this in. Because really, I'm going to have a ton of homework. It's just the way it's going to be. And having the Sunday stuff set it up really is good because that'll clear all of the homework for the week so that I won't be panicking, which is something that I was good at the very beginning of last semester, and as time went on, I just got worse and worse about it, and things started to deteriorate. Um, so I like it. I like that setup. Sunday would help me a lot, even if it means spending the entire frickin' show doing the homework for the week. It would set me up for the homework for the week. We'd also have to see what Coco Sensei wants to do. I'm most worried about my Japanese class because she's the director of the department, and I don't think she suffers fools lightly. I mean, I think she's a very sweet person, but I think that she's going to be demanding and push, which is fine. I'm in on that. I want to be pushed. I guess I should say I think she's going to push because I'm going to kind of ask to be pushed. So I feel like that's going to be a thing. But it also means I probably should be braced for that and ready to go for that. I think that's a good move. We're also going to have 2 more classes that are going to be in there, 3 classes, other classes that'll have to be dealt with. I don't think I will see much out of one of them as far as homework is concerned, because it's a senior level class, and so usually those, and it's designed for doing studies and how you do cultural studies. So I think that that's going to be more in class discussions and things like that. I think that's what he's setting up for. The other one is going to be a little bit more paperwork heavy, I think, but not that bad. My linguistic anthropology, though, that one I expect work out of. That one's going to be work. So we'll push it. We'll make it work. We'll see what happens. I do want to see if I can't find a partner to join me on this, because there's going to have to be at some point me writing. And though I can write just fine online, it's boring for you guys to watch me write on me sitting over here the whole time. It's not going to helping. Yeah, maybe that's not a bad idea. So it could be Bellatrix or schoolwork if we still need to. Well, that kind of makes me think, though, I want to make Bellatrix more more prevalent. I don't know. If so, I kind of think I might want to swap Bellatrix for... Yeah, that's fair. But I think I might want to swap Bellatrix for SP3 on this. And the reason is because... Right? Pile of gray shame. Do you have a camera that is on your desk for the pile of gray shame, so that you can have the camera running while you're painting the minis? Because that would be cool. The question is, you willing to stay up till midnight? Yeah. I mean, obviously you're willing to stay until 11 since it's 11 now, but yeah, my question is, are you okay with staying up till midnight on Sunday nights? Either way, I think I want to make Tuesday and Thursday nights to be sort of sacred nights for that. I'm going to see if I can't get the guys to move the Expanse game down the road, because right now we're all meeting on Thursday nights. Everybody needs something from me on Thursday nights, which is making Thursday nights very hard to maintain and hold. Yeah, but I like the idea that that's a 3-hour time block per week that's on SP3, because he isn't in that big of a hurry. But also those Ilios don't take a lot. You know what I mean? Like, they don't take a lot of planning, they don't take a lot of thought processes. Yep, Kiddo and I were just talking about being night owls, because I'm off for this next week, and I'm going to catch up on all the stuff that I didn't get done prior, bill paying, and got to call all these people and like set up stuff and chase things down from school and things like that. So I got some work to do. It has to be done, which I'm going to be doing over the next week. So that's all right. Yeah, I don't have any reason. Yeah, you don't need to be here all night. But Monday nights, if you were here, that'd be cool. And maybe Jackson will join me from time to time or whatever. I'm just worried when we get to schoolwork, I'm going to be typing in stuff. You know what I mean? Like, just kind of seemed boring to me. It's like, so. But yeah, I think you're right. This here Monday and Wednesday, we should actually probably just call that project time. And then for right now, it's SP3. Whatever is our project. Which I might move Bellatrix in there or not, as I see fit. Anything could happen, you know. So yeah, or school can move into there or whatever needs to happen. But I think the big thing is to make sure this just stays sacred so that those don't ever get messed up. I'm bringing up my calendar and just there are the night shows are already set in, but I want to make sure that they All right. I'm gonna set this up now. So I've got a Sunday night stream for schoolwork. Oh, wait. I better have it repeat, too, while we're at it. Does not repeat. Repeats weekly on Sunday. There we go. This one's specific, so we'll say Night Stream project. And this night stream so weird. Just looking at all these, I'm like, well, weekly on, and we're gonna do this. There we go. And then I've done that. And then I'm going to put a night stream in here for Wednesday. I'm just putting this into the calendar so that I don't screw it up. There we go. Yeah, I think so. All right. So I have now set up this schedule for. Hey, Joshi, good to see you, man. That's all right. I haven't been here sometimes either. All is good. So, all is good, my friend. We're just talking about how am I going to set up my next year's worth of work here. I think I'm going to be here for the night streams. And I'm trying to sit here and go, well, okay, for the night streams on Sunday, I'm going to probably do my schoolwork. The schoolwork probably will require something. So Sunday night's going to be my schoolwork. Get that kind of squared away. Then Monday and Wednesdays, I'm going to end up doing project nights. That's what I think we're going to do. And in this case, our project night right now is Silver Pentacle 3, which is a book that was written a while back. And stuff like that. So I'm putting the illustrations in it. And then Tuesday and Thursdays will be Bellatrix nights. You get yourself a new computer because your old one used to crash. Well, that makes sense. I'm glad to hear that. Good job. It's called a nuke box. That's awesome. Tell me what you think about Windows 11. Because I'm running Windows 11 now too. And I actually don't mind it. It's got a couple of updates that I kind of dig, frankly. Kind of digging some of these updates that come up on this thing. Yeah, me too. Kind of feeling like that's a thing. So The only thing I don't like is I have this AI thing and I can't get rid of it. Like, there's no way to get rid of the little AI thing in the corner here. You can't actually get rid of it. I don't like the Copilot. I don't want the Copilot.
Why not ignore it?
Because it's here.
I've never found it much of a problem.
I know. This isn't about you, though.
Fair point.
And I just don't like the fact that it constantly tries to open it and open up to say, we can make you pictures if you want. And I'm like, that's nice and offensive. Thanks. Would you like us to use AI to make pictures for you?
Okay, maybe that's the difference. It's never done that with me. I feel very lucky.
Taskbar settings. Alrighty. Rocking the taskbar. Rocking the taskbar. Rocking the... Okay, let's see here. Oh, yeah. There are things that we can start here. Let's look around what we can do. Wow. Some default apps. Is it under the time and language, you think? Where did I find it there, Brent? Got that. Oh, okay, I see it. Got it. I killed it. It is now killed. Thank you. I find that to be remarkable. Oh, I only really find it so offensive because it's an AI doing all the things that I still find annoying that I didn't want to have happen. So, like, I didn't want Copilot to help. I don't want AI to do covers for me instead of me and stuff like that. It seems ridiculous.
Well, I mean, but to be fair, there's a reason that artists still exist. People don't want covers with 7 toes.
Yeah, but the newest version of Midjourney stopped doing that. So
there are other things it does.
Yeah.
There always will be.
So
eventually we'll get to the point where they'll be able to do everything perfectly, but they won't be able to put in the same level of expressionism that humans can.
yeah, Brent, that's the kiddo.
Hi, I'm the kiddo.
Yeah, I don't know. It all depends. I'm not, but regardless, I still find it a little. Brent says hi.
Brent.
I still find it to be somewhat offensive to have it on my machine. That's all.
Fair.
I mean, it's again not necessarily about you or anybody else. It's about the fact that I find it offensive.
Well, I mean, there's always 10.
No, I just we just literally went through disconnecting it. That's all. It's disconnected. I don't need to revert back to Windows 10 now.
That's fair.
I just needed to turn it off.
Yeah.
Brent knows how to turn it off. He told me how to turn it off. It's off. So
At first, I had problems with how Windows 11 looked. I've gotten used to it. I quite like it now, actually.
yeah, I do like the search bar in the middle. I thought at first I'd find that to be kind of weird and strange, but now that time has gone on, I've kind of gotten used to it and I like it.
It's weird how many people are staying at Windows 11, but honestly, with how little they changed between versions, I don't blame them.
Yeah.
Like, you look between a lot of versions of Windows, and there's so much different. And then between Windows 10 and Windows 11, not very much is different. When it's like it's like Microsoft's big new version.
There
I
we
feel
go. I like that better.
Microsoft is having issues. In my mind's eye, they have like 3 big things they control. They control Windows, they control frickin' Xbox, and they control Minecraft. And people aren't in love with the current Minecraft, well, compared to earlier updates. Xbox is slowly being overtaken by Nintendo and PS, and
Yeah.
Windows just isn't really doing much. People are moving backward in Windows.
Brent says you should work in IT. It takes a lot to get used to, especially when looking for where things are in control settings. There are some weird things that I'm always kind of perplexed about that Windows never had as a control. Like, some things are just strangely hidden, and they shouldn't be. Like, I can never see what is actually being transmitted back and forth on my PC. Like, I can see that things are being transmitted, but there's no monitor to monitor what systems are talking or when. You just have things that have open access to the internet and just sit there. And sometimes they're transmitting and sometimes they're not, but you can't see it. You can't actually say, Windows is right now contacting on the internet, Windows corporate and, or whatever. And I've never understood that. And there's no way to just shut off your internet. Like, terminate the connection between your machine and somebody else's. And it's just like, that's such a weird thing. Like, there should be a toggle switch. And when I throw the toggle switch, my PC stops transmitting all the way across the board. Now, I know that there are third-party apps that do that. I know that there are, certain things that do all kinds of stuff. But in diagnostic mode, if I'm looking for a problem, boy, it sure really would be nice if I could see if something was going down in certain locations. Like, I had a problem last night with a download. I was trying to download Baldur's Gate 3, and it ended up taking 4 hours to download because it was transmitting and receiving at a pretty hefty, solid speed, but it kept stopping. So it'd do a batch of downloads, then it would stop, then it would batch download, then it would stop. And I couldn't tell if it was getting interference from something else, if some other program was transmitting instead. I couldn't figure any of that out because there's no way to see it. You can just see your computer is constantly transmitting, and that's all you get. It's just, well, my machine is constantly transmitting and receiving. In the middle of the night, I could tell that my card was transmitting because it'd sit there and blink all night long. What's it talking to? Who's it talking to? Can I stop it? None of that was built into Windows ever. What's going to your various, as an operating system, it never tells me what the operating system is doing. There's no diagnostic for the operating system. What?
How much is Baldur's Gate?
$40, $50, $50.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
I was kind of thinking of getting it, but that's a lot of money.
It is. And we can talk about that not when I'm broadcasting.
Sure.
That is definitely something that I was thinking about. You can't just flip a switch and turn off D drive. You can't flip a switch and turn off. See, I understand C drive, that makes sense, but like there's nothing, there's no like graphical interface that shows what's going on in your machine. And I find that to be interesting. It's never had that. Never. You've never been able to see what's actually going on. If I bring up the let's say task manager, it'll show me that my internet card is transmitting and receiving and transmitting and receiving and transmitting and receiving, but it's not saying what or when or why.
I'm sure there's some way to figure that out.
There is. There are totally third-party apps that will more than happily give me all that information. What I don't get is why it isn't default in Windows, why there isn't an existing part of that. I mean, there are all kinds of third-party apps that do all kinds of stuff. But I also think about stuff like that all the time. All of these, the internet has been put on, the onus has been put on the internet to police itself rather than the machine to police for the internet. Like, why can't I just set up a blacklist on my machine? If you get a request from 142.338.1.3, deny it. Don't give it anything. You're not allowed to get, and instead it's like, well, once the thing's open, there's nothing you can do. It'll just suck everything out of your machine. You're like, why? I mean, I should be able to have some start on the OS that says, hey, this website's bad. Like why is that? And I can totally, like you're saying, I know that you do that on the whole network side, but it seems, not only does it seem like the majority of the things that you can whitelist and blacklist are complicated, like they shouldn't be complicated, but they are. And it's all seems to be on the internet side to figure that stuff out. I don't know. Or you have to have these super intrusive, virus protection programs. And I'm like, that's so weird. Like things like Windows Defender. I should be able to just go in there and say, I'm blocking this site. If anything comes in from this site, don't take it. I think Defender actually does that, but I just keep thinking about that. I think about that a lot, like at night, because right through here, I can see the transmit receive light on my network card, because this machine's now hardwired into the router. So I don't use wireless anymore for this machine. This machine's directly plugged in. And I'm looking at that and it's blinking, and that makes total sense. I'm broadcasting. Seems like a thing. But when this show is over and I turn everything off and I'm not looking at the internet, I'm just sitting here drawing, I'll still see transmit receive lights on my router or my card. And whenever I go look at my card, it says there's no traffic. Well, but the light's blinking. So there is traffic. Something is going back and forth between my machine somewhere, and that's what I don't understand. Why there isn't why the card will say that there's no traffic, but we're clearly getting traffic, because it's decided that regular pings to Microsoft are not considered traffic, or regular pings to this, or Adobe, which constantly has me phoning home all the time. These are the things that make me go, I can't believe that the system doesn't have that. It's very strange.
That is strange. I mean, it feels like it's only in rare cases that would really be a problem.
Sure.
So it's like, why work for, why spend that much money on something that isn't going to be a problem when you can spend a lot of money on changing barely anything about the actual OS?
Right? Yeah, looking over here and just kind of looking at stuff. I like how my GPU took a spike just trying to load up Task Manager. That cracks me up more than anything.
It's not very graphically.
I was thinking that too. I was like, this is not like this is a remarkably graphically intense thing. We're using 43% of my memory. That's totally reasonable, right? Because I can see that. That makes some sense.
No Man's Sky.
And my CPU is all over the place doing CPU stuff, which makes total sense as well.
I think my laptop needs more RAM.
Probably.
I had time to download some RAM.
And then all my various hard drives out here. Which it's not doing. But yeah, I mean, back here, kind of just looking at the nature of all these things. Even when I'm not broadcasting, there's still stuff going on. I do think it's interesting that I'm sending more than I'm receiving at the moment. That's probably not a normal thing for people unless they're broadcasters, which makes sense. I'm okay with that. I just keep thinking about this a lot. Like this should tell me more information than it does. And I find that somewhat disturbing. Oh, the wind is picking up outside. All right. All righty. Yeah, pretty much exactly as I expected that would go down. All right, so let's see what else we can do. What other cool things can we do tonight? Good job, kiddo. All right. There is something I've been wanting to do for a while, and that is work on what I call my book that I use for all of these things, which I don't have a name for. But like I've got this book that I use for good writing and good stories, things like that. How do I remember to do stuff and keep stuff going correctly and yada, 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 yada. So, I'm looking for it right now because I can't remember what I called it. My cat is so bizarre. My cat is a weird cat. Did I put it under important? What did I put it under? I don't think I put it under important. Yeah, see, no, that's not where I put it. It's like how to. There we go. So, all right. I once built this thing, which was if you wanted to do a random generation of a character, and this is a little out of date now. This is about 10 years ago, 20 or 10, 15 years ago, I did this. But, you could roll a 10-sider or a 100 siders, 2 10-siders. And if you got 0, 1 through 50, you got male. And if you got 51 through 100, you got female. And then, like, all of these things are sort of based off of the random, things of. The only one that really these are all based off of just our distribution in the United States. This is totally for a United States design. So, I mean, you have to be building for U.S. citizens here. So the distribution, of course, at the time, very interestingly, the distribution said this. I don't think that's true. Having looked back into like our distribution, this puts it a high probability of it being white, and that's not how it works in our world. This is an interesting distribution of personalities. So this is what the newer setup is, this hexaco. Setup, which I kind of like. But the idea was that I don't really do well with just making people. I don't trust that I'll do the distribution correctly, so I like to use these to randomly generate people. And this shows a little bit of that hexaco model here. Right? Sincerity, greed avoidance, fairness, modesty. These are the positive things. Anxiety, dependence, sentimentality, and fearfulness are over here. Sociability, social self-esteem, boldness, and liveliness are here. Flexibility, forgiveness, gentle, and patience are over here. Diligence, organization, perfection, and prudence are over here. Inquisitiveness, aesthetic appreciation, unconventionality, and creativeness. So these are all the positive traits for hexaco. And some people are more, some people are less, depending on how they roll out. I think what I want to do is make a new piece of paper. Yeah, this job has been done. This one's not. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that. And this, because those are the stock things that always come up first. I think the next thing I want to do is redo these pages so that this actually makes some sense. Open with clip. Because today we're just going to do this differently. Ah, the creepy noise. It is there again. And we're going to bring this up. Full page. I want to fix this so that it's not. And let's look at Hexaco. This one. some fascinating stuff going on here. Yeah. So I'm reading about the hexaco model personality model, which I find fascinating. So the hexaco model of personality conceptualizes human personality in the terms of 6 dimensions. But by the way, if you're wondering what I'm doing, in the fall, I'm also going to be teaching character creation and story creation, world building at the local arts location here. And so I want to also, that's actually probably somewhat more pressing than some of the other things. So I'm going to try to revamp some of my character creation stuff to make it make more sense. So one of the things I want to kind of take a look at is things like the hexaco model of personality traits and stuff like that. Because right now what we have is, quick. Okay. I'll put this under this so that there we go. I can do this because really it needs to be more like this. That's more a thing, right? Anyway. There we go. The hexaco model, is a little bit better than the original ISTJ, EF, whatever sort of setup. Although this is a little easier to just make. I feel like ones that are those hexaco models, you end up with a much more accurate model of human behavior. And when you're talking about how you want the characters to react to one another and stuff like that, I don't know about other people. Sometimes people come up with pictures in their head of what their characters do. I mean, Bennett for me is a very clear picture of a human being. I actually don't need to work very hard to think about how Bennett operates. But as far as the way that Chang operates, Chang is just me, right? Like an idealized version of me. So all I have to do is say, well, what would you do? And then I would say, well, I would do this or whatever. But when we start dealing with things like how to deal with characters that are either ancillary or not primary to the system, yes, you are George still. Ancillary or primary to the story, then you want to kind of say, hey, remember that this character does this one trait or has this one trait, because then you don't want the characters to walk out of your view of them, so to speak. So I've been kind of thinking about how do you make that work? And for right now, I had sort of the IFTJ, ESTJ sort of thing. And maybe, though it's not necessarily the most accurate, it might be interesting to just make it work. I think the other interesting part of this particular thing is that over here, I have the distribution based off of sort of the distribution of how people are in the world. And it is interesting that it is different between males and females. So like some men are more extroverted than women, say, for example, and things like that, which I find fascinating in its own way, like very interesting to have sort of these different aspects of people. And maybe I will just stay with this because it's not hard. And since this isn't science, I'm not trying to make a science out of it. You know what I mean? I'm like not trying to But I also feel like these all have only positive traits and not negative traits, but these give you an easy rundown of who is what and what is where, you know? So if you were to make your character with an ISTJ as a sort of just a rundown, and that actually amazingly is 16% of our population right there, of males anyway. It's only 7% of our females. He's dutiful, practical, logical, and methodical. Right? Looks like the majority are ISFJ, and dutiful, practical, supportive, and meticulous. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow night, Brent. Good night. Sleep well, my friend. I don't know if I've lost Joshi. I might have lost Joshi. I'll have to see. I don't know if you're out there, Joshi. Maybe I'll just leave it like this. And though Hexaco would be cool, how do you set this up the same way? Because it looks like to me, each factor has a percentage, right? So that's fine, but how do you set that up to say something? At least with this one, if you do, oh, the character is ESTP, you get, a factor out of this. The majority of your characters are going to be ESFJ or ISFJ or ISTJ, with ISTJ being the majority of the people, right? I don't know. Maybe it's just your character has, a certain percentage of these things. I don't know, maybe. Oh. The first facet of the Hexaco model is the honest humility scales, right? So there's 24 units in this, but each one tells you a certain amount about each person. That's fascinating. I'm learning all kinds of stuff now. In group versus out group. Fascinating. I have just learned something fascinating. Very fascinating. So, just learned about this guy. Your SDO rating. This is your social dominance orientation. It's a personality trait. That's fascinating. Well, we've worked a lot today on these kind of weird things, so I'm going to call this a good day. And before I get myself too caught up in all of this, which is likely to happen at any moment now, I'm going to go on ahead and roll us out. If you've been joining me for the day, though, thank you for joining me. I hope to see you tomorrow night. And as always, remember to keep your eyes on the stars. Good night.